Good morning. Thanks, Setson, for the kind words. I can't really think of a more expressive idea around collaboration than this event. John's been putting this together for, what, 5 years? Every single month. And if anyone should be up here talking about collaboration, it should probably be John and all the volunteers who do this and put this together. So it's an incredible honor to... There we go. It's an incredible honor to be up here. I'm a big fan of NPR. I can't think of another brand that's really enriched my life in so many ways. The content, the programming, the radio. It's it's like I feel like I've grown up with NPR. Walking in and seeing Click and Clack, Car Talk. I just think of their laughs, and so it's really special to be up here. It's intimidating. It's great to have these logos. It feels really great. So I thought I would kind of just jump in, share a little bit about myself, who I am, a little bit of my background, and then talk about how collaboration has worked, and probably more importantly how it's not worked in my career and in my life. So let's just jump in. I am native, born in Santa Monica. Local Angelino, went to UCLA, live in Venice Beach. I stole this photo off John's site. I did give him credit though. I do like to surf, although I talk about it more these days than actually do it. This is my dog Grace, the highlight of my life, just a sweet, sweet, sweet being. She loves the beach like I do. And I grew up in Palm Springs. I'm actually fourth generation Palm Springs. You guys know, probably have seen Denny and Rex as you're driving out on the 10 to get to Palm Springs. The desert is just a place that really centers me, and I love the outdoors and love to get out there. My parents are still out there. This was in my backyard growing up. So again, if you know this, if you're familiar with Mount San Jacinto, it's usually from the other side. You can see it. It's accessible from the Palm Springs aerial tramway. Often people get to it from taking the tram to the top, and then you still got a pretty good hike to get to the top. I love hiking, love backpacking, but I'm really not a mountaineer. And the North Face climbs 10,000 feet in under 7 miles. And outside of Alaska, it is one of the steepest climbs in the United States. And so one year, my oldest brother, I'm the youngest of 4, he had this great idea to take his younger sister on this climb and said, hey, let's do this together. You know, brother-sister bonding. Literally one of the hardest and most physically challenging things I've ever done. This is what the route looks like. We did the climb in 2 days. The second day we were roped together, partly because I was scared shitless. Progress is incredibly slow. Crampons, helmet, ice axe. You're carving steps in the snow. It was so steep that I got vertigo. I couldn't look down. I could only look out at the horizon. And you know, you're filled with, and I was filled with every single emotion that comes with doing any project, whether it's a physical endurance or, you know, a work project. Those feelings were frustration. It was tedious as all hell. I had doubt, fear. I was annoyed with my brother. Physically challenging. I was bored at times. That first night when we camped right where the line starts, we camped the first night right before you got to the snow, and I literally was crying until my brother was turning around in the morning. And the next morning I was able to get through it, and we talked about it, and those tears were eventually replaced with true ecstasy and joy upon summiting. And for me, team sports, and like I said, physical sports are a great metaphor for collaboration. In this case, it's an incredible metaphor because we're roped together. Like, I had to rely on my brother, and he had to rely on me to get through it. So the topic I really wanted to cover is collaboration is hard. It's really messy work. In my mind, collaboration is simply working together to achieve shared goals. And I say simply, in quotes, it's not that simple. The reason why I think it's hard is because it involves people. Personalities, different styles, different motivators, different desires, different ambitions. It requires a whole lot of patience, listening, encouraging, honesty, vulnerability, and really different genders and different cultures and different people collaborate differently. And that's kind of what makes it so hard, and it's also kind of what makes it so magical. At least it has for me. And what I love about collaboration is that it's truly creative work. It's not really linear. When it works, it's as much of a feeling as it is a process. It's a rhythm to it. There's a smoothness and ease to communication when you get in that rhythm, when you get in that groove. I think we've all felt it. There are just times when you're working on something and it just feels like you can do anything. There's trust, there's belief really that anything can be conquered, but it's tough to get there. So moving from some of my personal life to professional, I've been doing tech pretty much my entire career. From e-commerce, large marketplaces, retail marketplaces, web hosting. I'm currently the co-founder and CEO of a company called OngoWorks. We're a small, early-stage tech startup based in Santa Monica, and we're building this product called Reaction Commerce. It's an open-source e-commerce platform for businesses who want to sell online. And we're using modern technologies. It's mobile-friendly. It's open source, anything can be modified or extend. But almost every project I've worked on in any of these companies, I was the VP of product at Etsy, where I oversaw product and design and user experience. VP of product at Media Temple, and started my career down here in Santa Monica at GeoCities, and we were acquired by Yahoo. And anyway, almost every project I've worked on has kind of felt like that north face of San Jacinto. Like you just feel like you can't conquer. It feels like it's impossible. And sometimes it's just a drag, and sometimes it's really tedious and hard. So from my experience, I think the 3 pillars of collaboration are about the team, it's the environment, and it's communication. And so team's kind of simple. It's all about the people. And I almost wanted to say it's the people stupid. But it really is. It's all about the team. And the second one is I kind of characterize as environment. And this to me is a little more subtle than the others. It's kind of about the timing, the setting for the shared vision or for the project that you're working on. It's also the physical environment. We're in this great space at NPR, and everyone's almost commented like, wow, I want to move in here. I could live here. Just the attention to detail. That stuff matters. And it helps to build the creative spirit. And of course, I'm a small early stage startup. I don't have a building anything like this. We worked out of our homes for 2 years. But again, that's why environment and whether it's a physical environment or even your online environment matters. What tools you use to collaborate online. And the last one's communication, sharing of information and knowledge, and establishing a cadence for communication. And really the collaboration is in the intersection of the 3 circles. The magic to me is when these circles come together, it's in that little bitty part of the middle that's black. And this is also in my mind why it's so hard to achieve. The rebel in me kind of refused to put together a Venn diagram slide. So I just couldn't do it. I didn't go to business school. It's just against my character. So this is from the Tatley site. But more often, collaboration looks like this, right? Everyone's all over the place. The team's got their own agendas. People on the team are cynical or stressed out. The environment's not right. The timing's not right. Communication sucks. Or, there's a good idea. There's lots of talk, but there's no people and there's not enough people behind it. Or even worse, there's usually people, a shared idea, but communication's lacking. And so bottom line, execution's really hard. And so back to the kind of first pillar, team, it's always about the team. As a woman in tech, I was a little bit reluctant to to show a room full of white dudes. But the picture just kind of worked. This is a NASA control room, and in the early 60s, JFK put a statement out there to the world was we were going to put a man on the moon, and it was this incredible, impossible dream at the time, and really set about the space race. And there's this really famous story that I always love, which is JFK was visiting NASA, and he saw a janitor in the hallway, and he went up to the janitor and said, "Hi, I'm President John F. Kennedy." And the janitor says, "Hi," and he had a conversation and said, "What do you do here?" And the janitor says, "I'm here to put a man on the moon." And like, that's just incredible. Like, from the janitor to the white dudes in the control room to the astronauts who actually made it to the moon. It's a team collaborative effort. And I can think of a lot of times in my career at Etsy, we had this impossible mission. It was like September, right before the holidays. Search was broken. Literally, if you typed in jewelry on Etsy, the site would die. And it was hands down the most popular search ever. And there's also no way to browse listings. And Etsy is this completely non-homogeneous catalog. It's really hard to figure out how to create a browse taxonomy. And long story short, we came together. The engineers, product, design. We hired a library scientist to help us think through how to classify things. And we launched the project. And it really stands out in my mind as another great example of teamwork. So a couple other examples in the animal kingdom of collaboration. Here's a flock of birds we've all seen many, many times in V formation flying together. Collaboration makes them faster. They conserve energy. By flying in this formation, thanks Wikipedia, the whole flock adds at least 70% greater flying range than if each bird flew on its own. They couldn't migrate without this, which means they couldn't get to where they need to eat, and it'd be impossible. And for those into cycling, you're watching the Tour de France right now. This is why the peloton races in a line and races in this formation. Here's a colony of penguins. They're collaborating in the Arctic tundra to conserve warmth and energy. They take turns, going from the inner to the outer. And if they didn't do this, it would be impossible for their bodies to stay warm, and they'd most likely die off. It's just kind of incredible. And so to me, the true embodiment of collaboration is a bit of selflessness. This is Shane Battier. If you don't love basketball, you wouldn't have heard of him, like you probably have of Kobe Bryant or LeBron James. By most measures, he's really not an MVP. He's not the leader in scoring or in rebounds or any other statistics that kind of makes the MVP stand out. But his stats show something remarkable, which is that he makes his teams better. And not even that, he makes his opponents worse. And that's kind of incredible. I fell in love with this guy because I read an article in the New York Times called The No Stats All-Star. And I really identify with him. On every team there are people that want to stand out. But not everyone can be the all-star. And it takes the janitor. It takes the Shane Battiers. What I love about this guy is that he makes the team better. And I really get great satisfaction in my career and in my professional life from seeing teams win. So the second pillar, it's about the environment. I already talked a little bit about this. It's not really just the external environment or things or tools. You can overcome a shitty environment, but it's really hard to overcome bad teams and bad communication patterns. And while physical surroundings matter, I think this is really more about timing, that this is the right time to do something. And sometimes that's not always so clear that if the timing is right. Often it takes a bit of trust that you have to believe in that idea or goal. Worked at Yahoo, I mentioned, worked on a shipping project. We were integrating a major shipping carrier's rates and services and tools into the admin system for Yahoo merchants. And it was not a great environment. If any of you have ever been to Yahoo, it's cubicle farms. It's gray. There's some purple, of course, because the brand. But it didn't really matter because we all knew that this feature and the timing was right. It would benefit the sellers. We had great support within the companies, both within the shipping company and within Yahoo. And again, it's another one of those projects from my career that just stands out of like, okay, a good example of collaboration where, you know, timing and communication, we had daily stand-ups, regular communication, regular calls with our rep on the shipping side. And this is my new office. We just got an office in June, just last month. This is our environment. Aaron and I, my co-founder, we quit our day jobs 2 years ago and started building Reaction Commerce. It all started with a manifesto that we published on our blog. It speaks to everything I'm talking about, which is team, culture, the environment we wanted to cultivate. And, you know, as opposed to Yahoo, where we kind of overcame a kind of dreary environment, I've also worked in environments that were kind of horrid. The last job I worked at, the chairs literally had bolts coming through the cushions and would go into your butt if you sat on them for too long. Like, the technology platform we inherited was beyond challenging. Communication really was a struggle between us and the owners. There wasn't a shared vision, and no surprise that startup failed. Like, there's many reasons why I can point to, but that startup failed. But you know, more often than not, there was no intersection of those circles that I was talking about. But the silver lining is that's where I met Aaron, and Aaron and I started the company because we really wanted to create something different. And just a note on environments, it doesn't have to be expensive. This is 425 square feet. We built that reclaimed wood wall. We bought wood off Craigslist. We built it in my front yard. It was probably a couple $100s. It's in Santa Monica, and it's just someplace we feel comfortable. We feel comfortable, we can collaborate. We still use tons of online tools, obviously Slack and Google Hangouts to make it work for us. But if any takeaway is really think about your environment and how you can cultivate ways to be creative and collaborative. And then the last pillar is communication. I've been asking every friend who will listen to me this last month, since I knew I was going to be doing this talk, what they thought of when they heard the word collaboration. And invariably, I think everyone said communication. They said listening. They said sharing. And so to me, I think, you know, successful patterns that I've seen is where everyone on the team both talks and listens. There's no single person dominating the conversation. And that's really hard because some people are talkers and some people aren't, especially when you're in team situations. But I think that's really something to hone in on and really try to draw the wisdom out. It's clear that the research is out there that cognitive, diverse teams with diverse opinions and diverse thoughts are able to solve more challenging problems. And then to wrap things up, in my world, the biggest form of collaboration is open source. This is a quote from Bill Joy. He's the co-founder of Sun Microsystems. He recognized early on that really in order to be great, you have to collaborate externally. It doesn't matter if you're NPR or you're a 2-year-old startup or whatever. Try to really find people external to your environment that you can collaborate with, that you can have conversations with. We're, I think 7 billion people on the planet. We're interconnected more than ever before. And that's why we're building Reaction Commerce as completely open source. The software is available for anyone to use, modify, or extend. We have contributors now from around the world. We're already translated into 20 different languages by open source contributors. And I'll close with just one last example, which is a couple months ago in our developer chat room, a guy reached out to us from India and said, did you know that 50 to 70% of transactions in India happen with cash on delivery? I didn't know that. I knew it was big, but I just didn't know it was that big, and I've never purchased something in that way and done cash on delivery. And so he took it upon himself to build a package for cash on delivery and communicated with us all throughout that process. And to me, that's one of the greatest examples of collaboration. So thank you.